Hi guys! About 2 years ago, I wrote an article for thenerdmachine.com, and I'm going to leave a link in the description to that article. So how about everyone goes and visits it, so then their site manager's like, why is this article from 2 years ago getting all these hits? Anyway, the article was about 5 tips for new Whovians, and it was about the time that Matt Smith became the new Doctor, or shortly after, and a bunch of new people were getting into Doctor Who. It was just a huge wave of new people getting into it, and it was shortly after I myself had gotten into the Doctor Who fandom. So it was a bunch of tips for new people getting into the fandom and just starting this thing that people have been into for several years and were really enthusiastic about. And I thought today what I would do is bring that back up and bring that back into focus. For example, I recently finished watching Friends for the first time. I'd never seen it before, and the show's from the 90s. It finished in 2004, and it's one of those things that I feel like everybody has seen, everybody. And there are spoilers everywhere, and there's references everywhere, and modern television and modern books and everything, because it was just such a huge deal. So when I first started, there were all these things going through my head, and it was kind of intimidating actually to start something that big and something that was that big of a deal to so many people. But I think it's really important to remember when we start a new fandom is that everybody has been in that place before. For everyone, even if it's the original fans of Doctor Who, for example, in the 1960s, and they've been into this for years and years and years, there was a first time for them too. There was a first episode, there was a first read if it's a book series, there was a first game if it's a video game. Everybody has been that clueless noob. Everybody has been the person who doesn't understand what's happening. Everybody. There's always a fear of not being accepted into that fandom because you don't know as much as them. And let's be honest, there are some jerks in every grouping in this entire planet. So within every fandom there will be some jerks that will, be arrogant and hold themselves higher over you because I know more than you. I've had this happen a lot for video games, for example, so I recently restarted League of Legends. I took kind of a hiatus from that, and yes, there are some people who are kind of jerks. Online stuff, of course, takes away the accountability. We all know that. So if you're gonna find some jerks, it'll probably be online. But the important thing to remember is that they are one jerk amongst a lot of other people. They are one person within a really big community. There are times when I'm playing League and I will not know what someone's trying to get me to do because they use some terminology that I'm not familiar with. I don't know a lot about the lore. I don't know a lot about the strategy and stuff. I just play. I'm just a player and I haven't played that much. Sometimes people are great and they explain it to me. Sometimes people are not so great and they don't explain it to me and they make fun of me and they tell me I should go play with someone else. And what do? I go play with someone else because there are a lot of reasonable people I can play with there and I don't need that. So there's a little reminder for you. Ignore the jerks. There are plenty of nice people who just want you to love their fandom as much as they love it. Another thing you have to be really careful about with getting into new fandoms is the internet itself, because there are plenty of spoilers. This obviously applies a little more to books and TV series and things like that where they have like a plot line, and it is really easy to find spoilers. With whatever fandom, if it's something that people have been into for a long time, then there will be a lot of people assuming that this is a fact everyone knows, so let's throw that out there and not think twice about it. And that's okay, obviously that's gonna happen naturally, but as a new person you have to be a little bit on the defense about that. So you have to be a little bit careful what you're reading and who you're talking to and just let them know where you are and not to spoil anything for you. Because that can really ruin your fun, I mean, the people who know it already, they don't think about it, they've known it for ages, but they got to experience it, so you should too. There also comes that moment when you're joining a new fandom that you sort of make it or break it. You realize that this is a time when you are just going to devote yourself completely to it, that is definitely your type of thing and you love it, or you realize this actually isn't my thing. If you come to that realization and it happens to be the second one and you decide, I don't actually like this that well, you cannot be afraid to back out. It might seem really hard, especially when you've found people and you've seen so much stuff that's enthusiastic, and you might wonder, why don't I like this? But the truth is, there are hundreds, thousands of things that you can be enthusiastic about, and there are thousands of other fandoms that you can join, and if this particular one isn't your thing, don't be afraid just to back out. And on a very similar note, remember that fandoms are very complex. So when you're first getting into something, it might seem like, if for a video game, this is a character everyone loves to play, or for a TV series, this is someone that everyone loves, this is someone that everyone hates, good person, bad person, best character, best actor, etc. And it might seem like everyone has the same opinion. I guarantee that is not the case for any fandom on this entire planet, okay? There are so many different people who will love something for a different reason, and they will all have different opinions about what's good and what's bad and what's best and what's worst. So if you start into something and you have a slightly different opinion from what you think is everyone else, realize that someone else will have that opinion and everyone else doesn't really exist. What you gotta do is just keep digging a little deeper and find someone who thinks the same as you. Or it maybe is even more fun to talk to the people who don't think the same as you, because that can bring out so many different things. But just be very, very careful not to shape all of your opinions, the original ones and the ones that you hold on to throughout. Don't shape those on what you think is the majority or what you think is everyone, because that really doesn't exist. So whatever fandom you might be getting into right now or thinking of getting into, I hope these tips have sort of encouraged you in the right direction. I personally am in the middle of a few and thinking of a few. I just started watching Scrubs. That was kind of intimidating because I really wanted to like it and I felt like I should like it, and I do, thankfully, but if I hadn't, that would have been okay too. And of course I just finished Friends. I just started playing Assassin's Creed not too long ago. I just started getting back into League of Legends, so I'm kind of feeling bold apparently. So let me know in the comments, what are those things for you? What are the things that you've started to get into or you're thinking of getting into? And check out my article on the Nerd Machine if you're curious about what those 5 tips were that I gave for new Whovians. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video soon.